What is the Data Privacy Act and what does it do? These are the two common questions asked by individuals and organizations whenever they encounter the compliance requirements on data privacy. The Data Privacy Act is the law enacted by the Congress of the Philippines in year 2012 under Republic Act 10173. The law seeks to protect individual personal information in the information and communication systems in the government and in the private sector. It seeks to protect the fundamental human right of every individual to privacy. Privacy refers to the right of the individual to be let alone and the right to determine and control what type of personal data will be processed from an individual. The law also ensures that whenever the government or the private sector process individual personal information, these personal data shall be kept confidential and private. What does the law do? The law seeks to do the following. It provides for the rules for the processing of personal data. There are certain criteria that should be followed before a personal data may be processed by the government or by the private sector. Depending on the type of the personal data, whether it is personal, sensitive, or privileged personal information, there are certain rules that must be complied with. Second, the law defines the rights of the data subject. The data subject refers only to an individual whose personal, sensitive, or privileged personal information is being processed by the controller or by the processor. These rights include the right to be informed and, of course, the right to file complaint or damages should there be any violation of the privacy rights of the data subject. It also enumerates the obligations of a personal information controller. The personal information controller would refer to any individual or organization that requires the processing of personal data. So if you are an organization that requires collection of data, you have obligations to follow, such as implementation of security measures, whether it be organizational, physical, or technical security measures. It is also your obligation to ensure that third parties or those persons whom you outsource or instruct to do the processing for you shall also implement these security measures to protect the personal data of an individual against unauthorized disclosure or unauthorized processing. And lastly, the law prescribes penalties for violation. There are several acts which are considered a violation of the Data Privacy Act. And whenever you commit these violations, for example, unauthorized processing, unauthorized disclosure, malicious disclosure, you may face penalties. And these penalties includes both fine and imprisonment. When we speak of fine, the law provides for a fine of 500,000 pesos to 4 million pesos. And when we speak of imprisonment, the law speaks of imprisonment from 1 year to 6 years. I hope you have gathered certain information about the Data Privacy Act and what does it do. If you have comments or you have questions, feel free to leave your comment below. I am Atty. Mateo from ADM, your data privacy partner.